Imagine waking up to the news that the U.S. government has issued yet another immigration order, but this time it's not just about border control or visas. It's about geopolitics, national security, and one of the world's most powerful nations, China. This new immigration move by former President Donald Trump doesn't just affect individuals seeking entry to the United States, it reveals a much larger strategy involving global power shifts and international competition. In recent years, U.S. immigration policy has increasingly become a tool of foreign policy, not just domestic regulation. Under Donald Trump's administration, immigration orders often carried an additional layer of meaning. They were statements about alliances, rivalries, and perceived threats. The latest immigration order attributed to Trump illustrates this point vividly. It focuses on limiting or scrutinizing entry from individuals connected to China, raising questions about national security, technological competition, and economic influence. It shows how immigration can be used as a lever in the game of global influence. Donald Trump's presidency from 2017 to 2021 was defined by a hardline stance on immigration. Policies like the travel ban, the reduction of refugee quotas, and tighter visa scrutiny reflected a broader America First doctrine. While much of the media attention focused on Latin America and the southern border, Trump also shifted attention to competitors such as China. This fresh order builds on a long-running theme, using immigration policy as a lever to control who enters the U.S., especially those seen as potential security or economic threats. The U.S.-China relationship has transformed dramatically over the last decade. What was once a cautious partnership has turned into a complex rivalry spanning trade, technology, military, and ideology. Washington increasingly frames Beijing as its main strategic competitor. Against this backdrop, immigration policies can be designed to reduce the flow of people, skills, and investments that might benefit China or harm U.S. interests. Concerns include technology transfer, national security, and economic influence. Chinese nationals studying or working in the U.S. in sensitive fields may be viewed as potential conduits for intellectual property leakage. Worries over espionage and data security make policymakers wary of certain categories of visas. Efforts to limit Chinese investments or connections in strategic sectors also play a role. By targeting specific visa categories or tightening background checks, the Trump order reflects these anxieties. Although framed as an immigration policy, the order operates like a national security measure. It can include restrictions on student visas for individuals linked to Chinese military universities, enhanced scrutiny of work visas in technology or defense-related sectors, limitations on green cards or residency permits for individuals with certain affiliations, and expanded data sharing between intelligence agencies and immigration authorities. These steps don't ban all Chinese nationals, but they signal a more selective and security-oriented approach to immigration from China. Trump's immigration order fits into a bigger global picture, the decoupling trend between the U.S. and China. As supply chains split, trade disputes intensify, and tech races accelerate, immigration policy becomes another battlefield. Limiting high-skill immigration from China is not just about security, it's also about retaining an edge in industries like artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and biotechnology. This policy also plays to domestic politics. By appearing tough on China, leaders can appeal to voters who view Beijing as a threat to American jobs or national security. Immigration, in this sense, becomes a visible and symbolic measure, easier to communicate than complex trade regulations or cyber policies. The U.S. has long been a magnet for Chinese students and skilled workers. Cutting-edge research labs, universities, and companies benefit enormously from their talent. Restrictive immigration orders risk driving that talent elsewhere, to Europe, Canada, or Australia. At the same time, the policy sends a message to universities and employers: be more cautious in your collaborations and recruitment. This tension highlights the trade-off between openness and security. Within the U.S., reactions to such immigration orders are split. Supporters argue the policy protects national security, intellectual property, and American workers. Critics warn it risks xenophobia, discrimination, and the loss of valuable human capital. Think tanks, civil rights groups, and business associations often push back, arguing that blanket restrictions are blunt tools that harm innovation. From Beijing's point of view, such orders are seen as hostile acts, part of a larger strategy to contain China's rise. Chinese state media frequently frames these moves as discriminatory and politically motivated. The policy can also fuel nationalist sentiment inside China, making cooperation harder. Implementing a China-focused immigration order isn't simple. It requires defining which institutions or affiliations trigger restrictions, coordinating between intelligence agencies, the State Department, and immigration authorities, and handling appeals, lawsuits, and diplomatic pushback. Even if the order is symbolically powerful, it may face delays, court challenges, or partial rollbacks under future administrations. Whether under Trump or his successors, the trend of linking immigration to national security and geopolitics is likely to continue. President Biden's administration, for example, maintained some of Trump's China-related visa restrictions. This continuity suggests that the China factor in U.S. immigration policy is not just about one leader, it's about a bipartisan shift in Washington's strategic thinking. Immigration policy is becoming one of the most visible fronts in the U.S.-China rivalry. Expect more targeted visa bans tied to cybersecurity or military affiliations, tighter screening of investors and entrepreneurs from strategic competitors, and greater coordination between immigration authorities and counterintelligence operations. This is a long-term recalibration, not a temporary political gesture. Trump's fresh immigration order is more than a bureaucratic tweak. It's a signpost of a new era in global politics, where immigration is not just about people, but about power. It reveals how deeply intertwined national security, technology, and human mobility have become. For students, professionals, and businesses, the message is clear: immigration decisions will increasingly be shaped by geopolitics. For governments, it underscores how policies once seen as purely domestic are now tools of international strategy. As the U.S. and China continue to compete, immigration orders like this one won't just affect visas. They'll shape the flow of talent, ideas, and innovation for years to come. The next time you hear about a fresh immigration order, remember, it's not just paperwork at the border. It's a chess move in a global power game.